although I only read 3 books. I think I bought like 30. Hello bookish people, welcome back to my channel. My name is Megan. In today's video we are going to be going over the 3 books I read in March and the 10 books I plan to read in April. So we're doing a March wrap up, April TBR all in one video. And you're like, Megan, you only read 3 books in March. I know, the reading slump continued, but April is going to be the month I break it. I promise April is going to be the month. So actually all 3 books I read were in the beginning of March because I was like, I'm breaking out of my reading slump. And then one of the books I read actually put me further into a reading slump. So that was fun. But anyway, yeah, I'm very excited for April because Emily Henry's new book is coming out in April as well. So I'm like, okay, there's gonna be so many good books. I just have to read them. But yeah, let's get into the books that I read in March. I read 3 books in the month of March. I read them all via audiobook and they were all non-fiction books, which is kind of surprising. So the first book I read in March is How to Be Perfect by Michael Schur. And this book is, it's like, I forgot what the tagline for the book is, or like, you know how like non-fiction books have a title and then like a little subtitle? I think it's something like everyday ethics for like, oh wait, the morality of life's everyday questions. I don't really know. I figured out the tagline here, it'll be here. But basically what this book is about, it's written by Michael Schur. If you don't know who Michael Schur is, he is the author, or not the author, but the creator of The Good Place, Parks and Rec, and The Office. So he's created a lot of shows that I personally love. Like I have watched The Office, I can't even tell you how many times. Parks and Rec, watched it so many times. The Good Place, I only watched it fully through once, but I loved every moment of it. So yeah, if you definitely like the show The Good Place, I would say out of all his shows, then this book is really for you, because in The Good Place, you're dealing with a lot of ethics and morality, and all that kind of research that he did for that show kind of inspired him to write this book. And yeah, so this book really just deals with the morality and the ethics behind everyday life decisions. Like there's one part in the book where we're talking about like putting your shopping cart back at the front of the store, like when you're done using it, right? Like your grocery cart back, and what is the ethics and morality behind that? And then we're also talking about kind of like why would, like, if he's like gives a stupid question, right? Like, would you punch your friend in the face? No. Like why? Like no, you think that's wrong, but why do you think it's wrong? So it's a very like surface level morals and ethics and philosophy, and I found it really interesting. And he's the one who narrates the audiobook. As all the nonfiction I read this month, the authors are the narrators of the book, which actually what I really like about nonfiction is the authors are actually the narrators. And yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I don't remember what I rated it. I don't really think that's important. With nonfiction, it's like it's harder for me to rate things. I would say this is great surface level stuff. If you're looking for like a deeper meaning into the topics that he's addressing, then like this probably isn't for you. I feel like this is just very like pop culture, fun, everyday, and we're talking about ethics and morality and philosophy. So I really enjoy this one. I would definitely recommend it, especially if you like The Good Place, which I do. So then the second nonfiction book that I read this month, I actually do have the physical copy. I did listen to the audiobook, and that is My Body by Emily Ratajkowski, who is like this supermodel, and she basically talks about how she got into the modeling industry and her experience being in the modeling industry, and how people like view her, and how people view women's bodies. And honestly, I thought this was a very powerful book, but I'm not gonna lie, this was a terrible book for getting out of a reading slump, because honestly this book just like enrages you, right? And it just enrages you about her personal experiences, and like enrages you for her, right? Like she obviously goes through a lot of things that are like that aren't fair to her, and it just makes you mad at the world and society, and you're literally like, are all men trash? That's kind of like the underlying question of this book. But yeah, this book, I liked it and I didn't like it. So like, again, it was just a very dark, heavy topic, and I don't think I was necessarily mentally prepared to listen to such like kind of a darker nonfiction book. So I think I didn't like it in that sense, but with that, it's more of my mindset going into the book and what I was like personally ready to hear and to not hear, you know what I mean? I wasn't ready for such like a dark kind of heavy book, and that's what it was. So if you know that going into it, like, I mean, I think you'll have a better experience. But honestly, like, what did I expect? I don't know. I didn't really have any expectations going into it. I would say like with this book, the only things I wish that were a little different of this book was obviously it's a memoir, so she's pulling on her life experiences, but she never takes those experiences and extrapolates it to the broader like population of women. It's more just like what happens to her, which is totally fair. It's her memoir. I just wish there was a little more like connection to like a broader thing than just her own life experience. And the last book I read this month is It's Okay to Be Mad About Capitalism. I think that's the title. I don't know. It's Bernie Sanders' new book. So this book I actually really enjoyed. I think if you're somebody who loves politics and you're somebody who is a fan of Bernie Sanders, you'll just enjoy this book in general. I wouldn't say there's necessarily a ton of new information. If you are somebody who followed his 2016 and 2020 campaign relatively closely, and like I'm someone who listens to a ton of political commentary, and I don't really talk about politics on this channel, but I do listen to a lot of political commentary. You know, I followed his campaigns really closely, so a lot of the stuff that he talks about in these campaigns I kind of already knew, just from like listening to like news and like political podcasts and stuff. I kind of like already knew these things, but I was just now hearing his perspective from the 2016-2020 campaign and kind of like how he viewed what happened from his own perspective versus just like the perspective of somebody who like supports him or somebody who's like just a progressive commentator. And so yeah, I actually really enjoyed this book a lot. And then he goes into the issues like that America is facing. We talk about the healthcare industry, and I think it's, again, if you've listened to any of his speeches before, and if you've listened to multiple of his speeches before, if you've listened to him in news interviews, I don't think you're necessarily gaining anything like profoundly new from this book. I think it's kind of just more things he's already said, but it's like written down, you know what I mean? It's like things he's already said, but now you have it written down on paper and you can highlight and annotate it and really learn from it. So yeah, overall I really enjoyed it. Okay, now we're gonna get into my April TBR. These are all the books I plan to read in the month of April. I have about 10 books here. Actually, I have more than 10 books, but I'm not planning on reading all these books. More of these are just like options for me, like what do I want to read? So first, let's talk about books that I actually bought last month that I kind of want to read in April. So the first one is Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers by Jessie Q. Sutanto. So she is the author of Dial A for Aunties with and a Wedding. I really enjoy everything I've read by Jessie Q. Sutanto. This will be the 4th book I read by her, so I am very excited to read it. I love a good cozy mystery. I already know I like her previous work, so I am very excited for this one. And this one is a cozy mystery that centers around like an older main character, whereas like Dial A for Aunties, it was a very you have Meddy, who's like in her 20s, and then she has her aunties who are all kind of older. But yeah, this one just centers around Vera Wong, who is an older main character. So I love a good senior citizen cozy mystery. Thursday Murder Club, I'm trying to think of others. Oh yeah, Killers of a Certain Age, loved all of those, so I think this one will be really fun as well. The next book I have is actually kind of 2 books, and that is the Last Violent Call novellas. So we have both novellas in here. We have A Foul Thing and This Foul Murder. I am very excited to read both of these. I wanted to read them as soon as they came in, but again, reading just like it's been falling by the wayside for me. So yeah, I am very excited to read these 2 novellas. I think I definitely want to prioritize these in April. I love Chloe Gong's work, and I love the universe she's creating with These Violent Delights, Our Violent Ends, Foul Lady Fortune. These are next. I really love this universe she's creating, so I'm very excited to read these. And I think one of these is about Roma and Juliet, which, oh my god, I need some more Roma and Juliet in my life. So yeah, I'm very excited to read these novellas. The next book we have is actually like the 4 books I'm showing you for my April TBR, you're also going to see in my March haul, because I bought all of these in March. So I'm not going to do too much detail, but first we have The Grown Up by Gillian Flynn. So this I actually thrifted in March, and I guess it was a book of the month little short story thing that they did, and it's super cute, it's super small, and I'm obsessed with the cover. I have it facing out on my bookshelf because like it's stunning. I have no idea what it's about, but it's like about 60 pages, 80 pages, I don't know. It's gonna be a super quick read it in one sitting, and sometimes when you're feeling slumpy, you just need a book that you can read in 60 to 80 pages and feel accomplished. So yeah, I am excited to read this one. Mystery thriller. I haven't read anything by Gillian Flynn before, so I am very excited to start with this one. Another shorter read that I picked up in March that I plan to read in April is Spy Family Volume 9. These are just like really easy to read, and I love Spy Family. It is the only manga series that I've ever read, and I think it's like, I always say this when I talk about it, perfect beginner manga. If you're not into manga, you want to get into it, I think this is a perfect one to start with. And the reason I say that is because I'm not a manga fan. Like, not that I'm not a manga fan, like there's nothing against it, I'm just not experienced or like versed in manga. It's never something something I'm like drawn to, but after reading this one, it makes me want to read even more manga series because this one is just so good. Basically, in this spy family, you are following the Forger family. We have Lloyd, who is a spy. He has to get close to his target. Something, I forgot, what's his name? I don't know. I'm really bad with names, okay? Something Desmond, and this guy only comes out in his son's private school for school events, so he needs to get into the private school, but he doesn't have a family. So he goes to an orphanage and adopts a daughter named Anya so he could get into the school. Well, Anya is a telepath. She can read minds, but he doesn't know that because she never tells him. But she can read his mind, which means she knows he's a spy. She knows about all the missions. Well, next to get into this private school and create a cohesive family unit, he needs a wife. So he meets Yor, who works at City Hall, and he's like, hey, we need to be in a fake marriage. And she's like, okay, let's do it. And she is secretly an assassin. So Anya knows that she's an assassin, but obviously Yor doesn't tell anybody that she's an assassin. So they all have these kind of secret identities, and it's a really fun family dynamic, and it's just a really cute series overall. I really enjoy it, and I am very excited to read volume 9. Okay, next, let's get into our other books. Next one, we have Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. This one, I'm going to buy the audiobook on Audible because I think that's the only way this is ever going to get read is if I have the audiobook, and you can only get the audiobook through Audible. So I plan on buying the audiobook and reading it this month. Actually, I thrifted this book because it was kind of a newer release when I thrifted it, and I was just excited to find it. And then I kind of just had it sitting on my shelf for a while, and then like I think 2 months ago, somebody I follow on Goodreads was kind of tracking their progress reading this book, and the commentary she was making as she was doing her status updates, I was like, oh wait, I kind of want to read this book. She's like, why did I not think this was going to be funny? This is kind of funny. This is us. And her commentary just made me want to read it. So yeah, I am planning on reading it. It'll be my first Andy Weir book, so I am very excited. So yeah, we have Project Hail Mary. So we have The Matchmaker by Ellen Hilderbrand. I really want to read another Ellen Hilderbrand book. I haven't read one of her books since December, and I really enjoy her work. And the perfect thing to get you out of a slump is a book by one of your favorite authors. I don't really know which one this is about. This is kind of just a placeholder for any Ellen Hilderbrand book I decided to pick up this month. And this one I actually thrifted last month, and it is a signed copy. So I bought like a signed copy of a book from my favorite author for like $2. So, you know, which just an amazing book. Okay, I'm already excited about the books. The next book we have is Something in the Water by Catherine Stedman. I think this is a mystery thriller featuring a couple. I believe either they're on their honeymoon or they're on just vacation. There's like a dead body in the water, and they're like kind of like, I don't know, it's mystery thriller-esque, right? Okay, so Catherine Stedman is the author of The Family Game. That is a mystery thriller I really loved. I rated it 5 stars. So I just, again, if you need to get out of a slump, go return to authors that you've previously loved, and hopefully their work will pull you out of your slump. And there's nothing to get you out of a slump like a good mystery thriller. And then the next 3 books I have are, I only plan on reading one of them, but I have 3 options. And that is, I just need to read a Tessa Bailey book. So I have Hook, Line, and Sinker, Too Wild to Be Tame, and Secretly Yours. These are all the unread Tessa Bailey books that I own. So one of these will get read this month. So yeah, you guys let me know, which one should I read this month? Do I read her new release? Do I read Hook, Line, and Sinker? Because I really did love It Happened One Summer. And then we have Too Wild to Tame. I don't know. We shall see which one I end up picking up this month. And then the last 3 books that are on my TBR are all from Aardvark Book Club. So the first one is 48 Clues into the Disappearance of My Sister by Joyce Carol Oates. And yeah, this one is a mystery thriller about this girl and her sister goes missing, and she basically just kind of investigates her sister's life and is viewing everything as a clue. And as the story goes on, you're starting to realize her true feelings for her sister. So it's definitely like more family drama, mystery thriller. This I got from Aardvark Book Club, and it's a mystery thriller that was on my radar, so I'm very excited to read this one. The next book I have is A Half-Baked Murder by Emily George, which is a cozy mystery, and it is a cannabis cafe cozy mystery. So it is about this girl who opens a Parisian luxury cafe, but everything has THC in it, right? So it's an edibles cafe, basically. And one of her acquaintances shows up, they die, her aunt is blamed for the murder, and of course, she is on the case. It's an adorable cover, really cute premise, and I'm very excited to read it. And the reason I'm showing you all my Aardvark Book Club stuff is because I recently did my first Aardvark Book Club unboxing, which, you know, you can go watch that video. I'll have it linked around here somewhere. And that I said I was going to do a reading vlog for all of the books that they sent me, and I'm going to stick to my word. We're going to do that reading vlog. So of course, course they'll have to be on my TBR. And then the next one is The Magician's Daughter. So in this one, you're following Biddy and Rowan, and they kind of, there's Biddy who lives on this island with Rowan, her caretaker, and she's never allowed to leave the island. It's like a magically concealed island, but yet he leaves every night. He transforms into a crow and leaves the island every night, and she never knows why. It's kind of just like a mystery because he never tells her why she leaves. But then one night when he transforms into crow and leaves, he never comes back. So Biddy kind of has to go figure out what he's been doing off the island and save him. So yeah, it's just a historical fantasy slash adventure, probably slash a little bit of a mystery involved. So yeah, I'm very excited to read this one as well, by H.G. Perry. And I said when I did my unboxing that H.G. Perry seemed like a very like familiar name to me, and it's because I looked him up on Goodreads. He wrote The Declaration of Magician's Rights, which I never read that book, but it was on my radar, and it is a fantasy book that I have been wanting to read. Haven't read it, but I do have this book by him, so I'm very excited to read it. And if you are interested in any of Aardvark Book Club's picks, these are from their March selections, but if you're interested in any of their picks, I do have a promo code. So if you use my last name, which is Gaddis, Gaddis, and I'll have the link down below. You could just click that and it'll bring you straight to it. You get your first book for $4, including free shipping, which is just an insane deal. Like $4 free shipping, hardcover book. Like those things like just don't even make sense because the price is too good for getting a hardcover book. So yeah, use my promo code Gaddis, and I do receive a kickback if you guys use my promo code and buy something from it, but it's just such a good deal. So yeah, these are the books, and these are on my TBR as well. So yeah, that was kind of my March wrap up, my April TBR. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. And yeah, next I have to film my March book haul, because although I only read 3 books, I think I bought like 30. So let's do that. So I will see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe down below. Bye.